Welcome to Bold Talk series where creativity, leadership, ideas, innovation come together. My name is Epi Ludvik, and today I have a privilege to have a short one-on-one conversation with Olivier Mangelschots, founder and fractional chief information officer at ODUM.digital. Olivier, great seeing you. Welcome to our Bold Talk series. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks.
Awesome. All the way from Ghent. I love the town and close to Ghent, right? You know,
Absolutely.
I had some great fun memories when we used to do our crowdsourcing week in Europe and in Brussels. So we used to travel all around Belgium, a great country. Olivier, tell us about, take us back to the beginning. What experiences or frustration first pushed you to step into the role of digital challenger and ultimately launch the ODUM.digital?
Yeah, great question. So I had a previous company. It was a software development company for about 20 years, and I had the opportunity to sell it to a big four, Deloitte. And then in the time that I worked for Deloitte, about 2 years and a half, I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of SME owners. So typically companies, so between 25 to 500 people. And I noticed a problem that most of them had is they lacked, like, say, a vision and feeling with digital. So they had very nice businesses and it was growing, but they lacked in their teams, in their leadership team, someone who knows about digital. And of course, they understand that digital is important. But most of the time, when they needed a solution, they went to the IT integration partners, to the companies who sell software and implement software. And what I see is that a lot of decisions and a lot of projects not really went the right way because the holistical view was kind of missing. So I thought maybe that's a nice step to do something about that with my new company. And I found it after leaving Deloitte.
Nice. And this was what? How long ago was that?
About 8 years.
8 years ago. It's interesting. I mean, businesses are evolving today. We see the rise of companies with huge revenues, but very, very, very few people.
Hmm.
And you also talk about the about restoring calm in a digital strategy. What does the calm actually look like in the inside a growing business?
Yeah, so I think when you're doing a digital transformation or any transformation that is kind of moving a lot of things around, things that maybe were kind of steady for a long time within the company, and that creates for some people fear and uncertainties and so on. And I think that the trick is to have a roadmap where people can look to and say, okay, this is what we're going to do. This is why we're going to do it. Break it down in some steps that they can have a kind of a feeling with, and that restores calm within the storm. Because obviously you're in a storm, but as long as you feel safe and calm, I think that's the most important thing. The problem I see is that many companies, and I work mainly with SMEs, they don't have a roadmap, they don't have a strategy in terms of digital. They're just firefighting all the time, and that is not calm. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, when you sold your business to Deloitte, how was that transformation for you? Because usually we only look at the one side, for example, when the a buyer does the due diligence. But on our side, do we do due diligence? Like, do we want to work with them? Do we want to merge with them? Right. So, how was that transformation?
Yeah. I think I was fairly naive in that time, and I didn't really think it through. But for me, it was a shift because it brought a lot of opportunities for me to see the world from a different angle, to see businesses and consultancy and so on from a different angle. And it also learned me what I don't want to do in life and what I don't want to do with my clients. Yeah, that just brought me more ideas and more, let's say, passion to start my new thing.
Yeah. Now you emphasize working in the business, not just on it.
Mhm.
How do you balance strategic oversight with operational relevance?
I think there is someone in Belgium, Olivier van Duren, who speaks about the duality. The fact that within a company you always do at least two things: you run the business, but you also have to change or transform the business. And you cannot just say to, say, a wholesale company that they stop all deliveries for a year and first we're going to do a big transformation and then they can start shipping again. So running the business has to continue all the time. And the bigger problem that I see is that in the market where we are, so companies 30 to 500 people, they don't have anybody who is focused on transformation. Everybody is with 2 feet in the running the business, and transformation is done a little bit on the side when there is time. And so it becomes firefighting. So I strongly believe it is not possible to do both, or you're focused on transformation or you're focusing on running the business. And of course you can be linked, or you can help the other team, but you cannot be in both teams at the same time. So we, from my team, we are only focusing on transformation, and someone from my team becomes part of the company for 2 or 3 years, a few days a week, and is only focusing on the transformation, keeping that pace and this holistical view.
Yeah. Well, it's difficult. I think, a company at the size of a 30 and above to 500, I find like the real craziness starts like when you get to like 100 or so, where you start not to know the employees' names. Because I would say like the 30, you probably know all your employees' names and birthdays. But when you get to 100 and so on, this is where things start to get uh, very challenging for the CEO or the founder. Um,
Mhm.
and what do you see, for example, what's the common symptom you see when a company is no longer in control of its digital architecture, or no longer in control of like driving that same energy or the same passion when you were like in 30, 50 people, right?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the problems that we see and that we try to solve is something very simple: is to have a project portfolio, so that you at least have a list and have made decisions of which projects are we going to do this year in terms of transformation, and which ones are we not going to do, or which ideas are we not going to invest in. And then to also make sure that each of these projects have an owner and someone with some focus on it and so on. So the most simple thing, having kind of a bit of governance within your change, is, I think, the biggest problem that these companies don't have. And typically these companies from 100 to 3, 4, 500, they're just doing a lot of things, but nobody is keeping track of the overview, which is a problem, because a lot of these initiatives, of course, have relationship with each other, or should be kind of sitting together to make sure that they have more impact, and that there is a bit more strategy behind it. So that's a pattern I see every day.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the it's difficult leadership doing the transformation. It's very tough. You need there's certain break point that you got to make sure to anticipate, and not to get caught on fire, because you
Hmm.
got to run the business, and same time you got to service the customers. You got to make sure. So there's a lots of things that goes on it. From your own perspective, what do you see? What makes the leaders who are aware of these things and look at those breakpoints ahead of time?
Hmm.
And what do you see? What makes them focus? And what do you think you need to be focused on when you?
Yeah, what I'm going to say is maybe very obvious, but when you're the owner of a company of 200 people, you hopefully have next to you maybe some other C-level people, one, two, three, four, and then you have a middle management. And so the ideal situation would be that you and the C-level are looking 1, 2, 3, 4 years ahead, and are really within this change and the strategy stuff. And the middle management and the teams below it are doing the things of today. That would be the ideal situation. What I see is that most of the time, also the top leadership is with 2 feet in the shit of today and not looking far ahead. And definitely not when it's about digital, because yeah, a lot of these SMEs and these founders of SMEs in Belgium, they're not born in the digital age. That it's for them, everything that's IT and digital and online is a bit out of their comfort zone. So by default, they don't kind of take that with two hands. They need someone to help them with that.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we do the bold awards every year. We give recognition to the boldest innovation and in a number of categories, and
Hmm.
we always look for innovators from around the world. And for us, when we started this journey, we wanted to also for people to come and bring their and know their power. And I always ask during these interviews, I ask the question a lot as a part of the last question: What does the word bold mean to you?
Bold, yeah, that's a good question. For me, bold is making bold decisions. I think that when you're the owner of an SME and your company already exists for 10, 20, 50 years, you have to understand that the past is the most dangerous thing for the future. So most of the companies we see, they need to let go of the past in terms of how they do things in processes and tools, and not the people, but the way they do things, and concentrate on what is really necessary today and tomorrow. And a lot of the times that means that you have to let go of things and rebuild. And this is just a foundation. And so we when we look at digital transformation, we see it in three steps. The thing here is the foundation, the ERP, the cybersecurity, just the things that nobody cares about in terms of customers. So it's just your internal stuff. And only when the foundation is a bit okay, then you can build on things like customer service and AI and so on. And if that's okay, then you can already think of disrupting the market or doing business model innovations. But it starts with this foundation. And the more you take from the past that's not useful, the more difficult it becomes to reinvent your foundation. And that's something you just drag along with you like a sack on your back, a backpack that's full of heavy stones. It's just not possible. You have to let go of the stones.
Interesting. Yeah, unlearning is much more difficult than learning, right? And so
Yeah.
you have to be able to let go of certain data in order to have some room for the new data to be able to be transformed. Otherwise, there'll be no transformation. I like that. Let go. Olivier, great seeing you. Thank you for joining me this Bold Talk series. And hopefully, we get to see each other again soon. Until next time, take care, be great, and be bold always.
Thanks.